Well, Super Bowl 47 is just around the corner, and the 49ers are going to be taking on the Ravens in what could be an interesting battle between the 49ers secondary and a potent Ravens offense. I brought in Dylan DeSimone to kind of give us some thoughts on the 49ers secondary in light of some iffy performances at times against the Falcons and the Packers. Obviously, the 49ers are going to be taking on Joe Flacco, Anquan Boldin, and Torrey Smith, and we do not want a repeat of what we saw the last 2 weeks in the first half, at least. For example, obviously, James Jones had himself a day against the 49ers 2 weeks ago. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, like we said, we were going into the playoffs, so we're seeing high-powered offenses. The 49ers were going to be coming out of their nickel a lot. Chris Culver got 83% of the snaps versus the Packers offense. They were going a lot of man-to-man. They were relying on their corners to play good coverage with the safeties over the top. Unfortunately, the safeties did come out a little slow to begin with. I took a look at Dante Whitner and Deshaun Goldson, the pair of Pro Bowlers. What we saw is that they were interchanging a lot. Deshaun was playing the strong safety spot while Dante would play the free safety spot. Trying to confuse Rodgers, maybe throwing some tricks here and there. Unfortunately, Rodgers was picking them apart early. There was like you said to James Jones, there was a 44-yarder down the sideline where he picked on cornerback Chris Culver. Deshaun Goldson was playing the strong safety spot and took a bad angle, couldn't get over there in time, but probably would have had a chance to break up the play. And then we saw the James Jones red zone touchdown here where he got behind the two all-pro linebackers, Willis and Bowman, and it was up to the coverage for Dante and Deshaun to get in there, but neither flinched, and it was a clean touchdown for James Jones.
Okay, well, obviously that is not a good thing. We want to see, what the 49ers can do a little bit better. And obviously in the second half, they really seemed to settle down. Rodgers still, Rodgers got some yards, Rodgers got some touchdowns, but really the defense, it seemed like night and day. What happened in the second half? Do you have some plays that you saw that might have exemplified what we were seeing?
Well, Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, called a pretty conservative game early. Like I said, they were lining up, just trying to beat them outright. It wasn't until late in the second quarter when he actually had Alden move over to the left outside linebacker spot and had Carlos Rodgers blitz from the nickel spot. Got Rodgers uncomfortable, and he threw a deep ball down the field that was picked off by Terrell Brown. Later in the game, we saw that pressure was key to disrupting Aaron Rodgers in the flow of this Packers offense. The safeties were playing better down the field. They started deeper. They were lining up deeper. They were taking better angles and cutting off the deep routes, limiting Rodgers' options downfield. This eventually caused coverage sacks. Late in the game, we saw Patrick Willis get up the middle and take down Aaron Rodgers. And it was very key for the 49ers defense to step up here.
Yeah, it did seem like the pressure really was key, and that really kind of got things going in the right direction for them. As great as that was, though, against Aaron Rodgers, a week later, the 49ers went into the Georgia Dome, faced the Atlanta Falcons. People were feeling pretty confident about that game, and then the first quarter happened. As we saw, Julio Jones had just an all-world performance, putting up 100 yards in the first quarter, getting a touchdown in that quarter, and then a second touchdown early in the second quarter. And it seemed like it was just going to be a repeat, and the Falcons were just off and running. What exactly happened? Let's just look straight at that Julio Jones play, because the first Julio Jones touchdown, because I don't know what happened there. I'm sure it's obvious, but what was it?
Well, the 49ers looked out of rhythm early. They looked like they come out flat. Worse yet, they didn't give Matt Ryan the respect that he deserved. They came out early. They were playing zone. As you can see in this play here, Tony Gonzalez lines up at the top of your screen. He goes in motion, and the 49ers defense doesn't move. Ryan and Julio Jones read this, and Jones runs right through him, right over the top for the first score of the game.
So was it just a matter of Deshaun Goldson thinking he was going to stop, or just what did Deshaun Goldson do or not do on that play?
Deshaun Goldson was playing up. He read the route wrong. He didn't trust that Julio Jones was going to be able to get behind him like he did, and he looked like blown out of his shoes.
That's what it seems like. But obviously, the 49ers turned things around. The second half, 49ers put up 14 points, and they shut out the Falcons after just a ridiculous half. And what I found interesting was it seemed like Matt Ryan was going to a lot more shorter passes. He really wasn't able to go down deep as much. Why do you think that was?
This was a classic example of the defense, taking what the defense gave them. They were playing out to the perimeter. They were really guarding those deep balls down the sideline, and they were just chewing them up the middle with the crossing routes. Roddy White was making aggressive catches with Julio Jones. But later on, the 49ers safety started playing more inside toward the hashes. They were making sure that all the plays were going to go outside, and they were trusting their corners to make plays on the ball. Later in the third quarter, we saw the coverage was very good and forced an Isaac Sopoaga sack. The play after that, the safeties were playing up in the middle again, and forced an outside throw to Harry Douglas that was intercepted by Chris Culliver.
Well, there you have it. Obviously, the 49ers are hopefully going to learn their lesson. They've got 2 weeks to get ready for a very potent Ravens attack. Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden are just ridiculous. I'm sure you agree with me on that.
Very aggressive receivers. Got to worry about them getting the ball.
Exactly. So we'll see. Hopefully, like I said, Vic Fangio's got some time to figure things out, and we'll be back with plenty more preview content in the coming days at Niners Nation, and of course, check back at SB Nation as well for all your Super Bowl content.